Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host Avik, and today we are diving into a story that's as inspiring as it is entertaining. So, dear listeners, imagine being a 14-year-old kid hopping on your bike and riding straight to a local radio station to ask for a job. Bold, right? Well, that bold move turned into a lifelong journey for today's guest. So please welcome Dan Parr. So welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing. So Dan, before we start, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all the listeners. So, dear listeners, Dan has been living and breathing media over, I would say, since that day. Radio host, television talent, voiceover artist, author, and yes, even the voice behind commercials you have, probably heard about, but never realized, right? Yeah. So alongside him, Lori Parr, with her natural flair for performance, carved her own path in broadcasting and becoming a highly sought after voiceover artist in her own right. So together they have built not only a career, but also a life around the magic of sound and storytelling. Yes. So from bike rides to broadcast, their story reminds us that passion and persistence can turn even the boldest dreams into reality. Yeah. So I'll not take much of your time, dear listeners. Let's get into the discussion. And Dan, it's such a joy that you have with us today, and we have a discussion today. Yeah, welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. So Dan, that fearless 14-year-old who rode his bike to the station, looking back now, what do you think? Gave you the courage to just walk in and ask for a chance?
I think what it was really, Avik, is that I didn't know any better. And I think there is some bliss in some ignorance sometimes. I wanted to work in radio. I thought that would be a cool job. And I think God sovereignly just put it within me, just like, well, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and ask. So yeah, at 14, I just walked into the radio station, and it's a small town radio station, AM station. Asked to speak to the owner. He was there, and I guess he just wanted to amuse himself. So he spoke to me, and he said, all right, you want to work in radio? Tell you what, go home, write me a letter, tell me why you want to work in radio, and I'll think about it. So I did, and he hired me, and 40 plus years later, here we are still doing broadcasting.
Amazing. Wow. And do you think that kind of boldness is missing in today's kind of younger generations? Or has it simply taken on a different form with the social media and digital platforms?
Yeah, I think it's very easy for people just to sit back and maybe think, oh, that can't happen. Well, with God, all things are possible, right? He will give you the inspiration that you need to get things done. And when you align yourself with him, when you follow him, he instills something in you and gives you a boldness that perhaps you don't even think you have. But because you are in him, you find that you have a new life and a new creation within you, and you're able to do things that you didn't think possible.
Exactly. And that's really fascinating because it shows that initiative, whether a kind of it's walking into a radio station or creating content online today, is really all about the same spark of confidence. Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for sharing that. It's a really great thing. From the perspective of Lori, I'm saying, did you ever face self-doubt in a kind of male-dominated industry like broadcasting for her, and how to overcome that?
Yeah, so she certainly faced that, right? Because broadcasting is predominantly male, especially going back into like the early 80s when we were kind of just getting started. So yeah, she had to overcome a lot of that, right? But she stuck it out. She wasn't a person who just gives up at the first sign of trouble. Instead, she just decided to stick with it, persevere, and she was able to advance through the ranks, becoming a news director at a local radio station and then doing voiceovers. And then we got together and got married, eventually started our own voiceover business. And she's just persevered and stuck it out.
Yeah, I love that because it highlights how authenticity often shines brighter than kind of fitting into the expectations. So, yeah. And you both have worn so many hats, like radio, TV news, commercials. Wow. Even the animation and the e-learning as well. So what's the biggest difference I'd say, in the mindset between being a broadcaster live on air and being a voiceover artist in the studio?
Yeah. So It's a different thing when you're behind the mic, right? Because
Hmm,
they can't see you. They can't see how
hmm,
animated you are or your
yeah.
voice or your facial expression. So you have to learn a way to do that with your voice.
Hmm,
If you're talking about something exciting, you've got to show it in your voice. Or if it's something sad, they need to hear that too. So it's just a whole nother level that you have to think about when you're doing it with your voice only.
yeah. Lovely. That's great. And do you ever miss the adrenaline of live broadcasting, or has it controlled?
No, it's always a thrill every time you get to do it,
Yeah.
right? So even doing something like this, it's just exciting to me because you're getting to, express
Hmm,
yourself, talk about something you're passionate about, and speak with people who have a genuine interest. So it's always exciting to be able to do it every time the
hmm.
camera or the mic comes on.
Lovely. So I was just wondering, what was the first reaction when you just had, in the broadcast first, on live? So what was the reaction?
My reaction, it's one of those things where you kind of get to pinch yourself, right? It's like,
Yeah.
am I really getting to do this? And the first time I
Yeah.
did television, I had prepared and waited for this moment for years, praying about it, just waiting for the opportunity to open. And then
Hmm,
when when the right opportunity did finally open and I was
hmm.
hired to be an on-air personality for television, I was just like, this is the greatest thing ever. It's just like,
Exactly.
and you never lose that amazement because you're just so
Yeah.
thankful for it and
Hmm,
grateful for it. So for me, it was just I still get to pinch myself, even doing things like this. It's like I really get to do this. I really get to go on and talk about God, the
hmm.
Bible. This is fantastic. So couldn't ask for it
Exactly.
any better.
Exactly. Yeah. True. And so, human side of the voice, voiceovers might sound like it's just about the voice, but it's really all about the connection that we are making. So, how do you both approach creating an emotional impact through the sound that when you're recording something as short as 30 seconds apart? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
Mhm.
what you want to do is you look at a script and you try to find out what's the peak, what's the main point of it. And then
Uh,
once you have that, you kind of hone in on it, right? So you want to
uh,
force your words or emphasize certain words so that the listener understands what's the purpose of it all. Narrating the Bible was a great experience for me because I was able to take the words of Jesus, right? And he had
uh,
so many parables that he would speak. But yet there is always one point he was trying to make with each parable, so you
uh,
have to find out what that message is and really sink your energy and focus onto that section
yeah,
so that it becomes alive and that the listener hears it and becomes engaged with what you're saying.
exactly. So, have you ever had a client push back on your creative delivery?
Oh, yeah, many times. Usually it comes in the form of rejection.
Okay.
I audition for things all the
Uh,
time, and I land very few of those things that I audition for. But
uh-huh.
again, it's like we were talking earlier. It's the
Yeah.
perseverance, right? You
Okay.
stick with it because you love doing it.
Mm,
It's about money. That's a great reward. But
mm,
really, you do it because you love it. And that's why
yeah,
I continue to audition for many, many things, even though I get 1% of those things, if that. But I love the process, so I continue to do it.
and how do you balance your instincts with their expectations?
Yeah, so for a lot of things like auditions, they'll kind of tell
Mm,
you what they're looking for in a read,
mm,
right? They want a certain sound. More often than not, what people want now is a relatable voice. They don't want it to sound like an announcer. They don't want it to
yeah,
sound like a broadcaster. They want it to sound like a person they're having a conversation with at a coffee shop.
mm,
So you've got to learn to try to talk, but yet make it sound normal, even though
yeah,
you're reading a speech or a script. So it's just a process of trying to work through that
mm,
and understand, if you take a breath in a read or you have a little cough or something in a read, that actually might be okay because it makes you sound more real and more relatable.
exactly. I understand. So, dear listeners, here's one takeaway. I would love to share that what we discussed right now and what Dan has also mentioned. The takeaway is kind of even outside of the broadcasting, right? Communication is always
Yeah.
about that bridging what we feel with what others need to hear. So, am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right on track. It's delivering the heart of the message, how you
Mm,
say things matters. It's like, I love my wife. You can say it
mm,
like that, or you can say, I love my wife. Context matters, and the way you deliver it, it
yeah,
matters.
exactly. Wow. And you have built careers side by side and now even run Source Connect studio together. So, how has working as a couple in this industry shaped your journey both professionally and personally?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. When we started this, we were both working in corporate America, right? We both had
Okay.
corporate jobs and we were doing the voiceover business on the side. And for me, one of my concerns was if I'm at home all the time, I don't
Mm,
have interaction with other people. And I kind of need that. I
yeah.
want that. So I was a little concerned about it. But as things work out,
Mm,
I end up losing that corporate position divinely, I believe. And Lori
mm,
had quit her position previously. And it's just the
mm,
two of us working together.
yeah.
But yet I gotta tell you, Alvin, it's been such a joy, to be able to
Mm,
work with my best friend and
yeah.
to spend time with her. Middle of the day, if we wanna go for a walk, we walk around the neighborhood. We have
Yes.
ideas that we want to bounce off each other. We're able to do that
Mm.
immediately. We don't have to schedule a meeting with one another. We're able to be there, and that's when you're in love with the person that you're working with.
That's definitely true. And do you ever find your professional life bleeding into your personal time?
Oh, yeah, all the time, right? So, this
Uh-huh.
is not a 9 to 5 job. I usually start my day at 7:30.
Mm,
And even last night at 9:30, I was still
yeah.
working on stuff. So it comes and goes, but we try to balance it out. Like I say, we'll
Mhm.
take breaks in the day just to
Yeah.
hang out and have fun. We'll play cards together, we'll walk
Mm,
together, we ride bikes together. This whole story started off with you talking about me going on a bike ride when I was 14. Well, here I
yeah.
am, 40 plus years later, and I'm still riding bikes. We make time for those things. So yeah, it's definitely a blur of personal time and professional
Oh,
time. It all just kind of mixes together.
amazing. Lovely. And any advice you would like to share with the listeners today?
Yeah. So my whole thing is everyone on earth has a
Mm,
purpose. You are not here by mistake. God made you for a reason. Your job is to discover what that reason is, and he will help you with that process, right? For me, it became very clear when I started reading
mm,
the Bible. The Bible, for me and many other people, is
mm,
transformational. Once you start to read it, discover who God is, his love for you, all of that, things come into focus for you and you begin to get clarity. And
mm,
God uses the Bible to speak to you. It's a beautiful thing when you can read a verse and go, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I've been thinking about." Well, that's God speaking to you, and that happens time and time
mm,
again as you go through it. So, my advice to anyone, discover your purpose. Discover the reason why you are here on the planet.
mm,
Discover the message that only you can bring in your particular way. For me, it's narrating the Bible, right? Coming out with
yeah,
a new version of the Bible, narrating it, putting it out there, letting people hear God through it. But that's just me. Everyone has a reason for being here. Everyone has a message. Everyone has a purpose.
mm,
Discover what yours is. For me, that was found through reading God's word, and he just kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things.
mm.
So I would start there.
Exactly. I admire that. And because it shows that success is not just about the skill, but it's also about the partnership, patience, and shared vision. So that's very true. Lovely. Dan, I mean, what a journey you have shared with us today. I mean, your fearless beginnings on a bike to building a thriving life in the world. Yes, in the world of broadcasting and voiceover. Your story actually reminds us that the passion, persistence, and partnership, like I mentioned, it's can truly take us anywhere. So, for all of us, or for all the listeners which you are listening, maybe you are sitting in a dream that feels too bold, too unlikely, too uncontroversial or conversationals. Take a page out of Dan's book, knock on the door, ride your bike to that opportunity, and dare to ask for a chance. Just what will happen? Either you succeed or they will reject, right? So, why not take that chance? So, dear listeners, if you have been inspired by today's conversation, be sure to check out Dan and Lori's incredible work and demos linked. I'll definitely mention the links in the show notes. So, Dan, if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the great link to connect?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. That's a great place for me to connect with
Well,
people. So Dan Parr on LinkedIn, you can find me there. I tried Substack, not real good at that just yet. So I would say
okay,
probably LinkedIn would be the best place to get a hold of me.
perfect. So, as mentioned, dear listeners, I'll mention the links into the show notes. With this is Avik reminding you that keep your mind healthy, keep your life vibrant, and keep chasing those dreams that uh, light you up. So, until next time, stay inspired. Thank you so much.
Thank you.